It's time, Fort Wayne. Your sports, your station. It's the Sports Rush with Brett Rump. Covering all the topics that hit a nerve here in the Summit City.
Clark, 11 yards, touchdown.
Only on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. Now here's your host, Brett Rump.
The greatest, most interesting, most important person of all time.
You are incredible. Older than one. Yeah, well, you're half right.
What is this, amateur hour?
This is going to be huge.
I believe this is going to be our finest hour.
Just when I think you've said the stupidest thing ever, you keep talking.
I think that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
That boy ain't right.
The simplest way to put it, I have problems.
Welcome to the alleged show.
Y'all ready for this?
Thank God it's...
It's Friday, gotta get down on Friday.
Here we go. If I got a voice, I could make it into the sports weekend. Oh, that was a little rough, huh?
It's the end of the week, man.
Oh, my gosh, I've lost my voice. You know, I did burn a lot of my voice on Wednesday night at Wright State.
Yeah, man, some big calls.
Oh, man.
Double overtime.
That was nuts. You know, I didn't have a color guy that night either, so it was like 2 overtimes, a lot of drama.
Flying solo.
Have a nice restful weekend, though, because there's no Dons basketball this weekend.
Bye weekend.
Got high school basketball tonight. New Haven will be hosting Leo. We'll be there for the game starting at 7:30, and it will be broadcast right here on the Parkview Sports Medicine High School Basketball Game of the Week, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. Big hour on the way to take you into your sports weekend. We've got our NFL picks for this weekend's divisional round. That includes the Houston Texans visiting Kansas City and the Washington Commanders in Detroit to take on the Detroit Lions. I have been warned that I have to pick Detroit.
Yeah.
By one of our buddies. So I am going to make my pick without bias. But we also have Los Angeles, the Rams, taking the cross-country trip to Philadelphia. And Baltimore will be up in the cold in Buffalo. And we'll make our picks coming up here in about 20 minutes or so. Also, we're going to replay for you, if you missed it in our first hour, new TinCaps manager Lukas Ray was announced today that he's going to be taking over the TinCaps this summer as the TinCaps manager. Now, remember, everybody that you see on the field in uniform, that staff is all paid for and provided by the San Diego Padres. And so the TinCaps don't hire a manager. The Padres do. The players are all under contracts with the Padres. Everybody from the video coordinator all the way through clubhouse staff, everything. So now when you get up on the concourse and you start to meet the staff and you have a chance to get concessions and there's ushers, those are all TinCaps employees. But what you see down on the field, those players, those coaches, those managers, those are all hired by the Padres. And so today the Padres announced all of their minor league system, all of the coaches, managers, etc. And so we now know that Lukas Ray is going to be the TinCaps manager this year. We had a chance to talk to him in our first hour. But since some of you may have still been at work, we're going to go ahead and replay that coming up at about 5:35, 5:40 this afternoon.
Sounds good. Glad we give our second hour listeners a chance to hear that because it was a good interview, and I'm glad to have him here in Fort Wayne.
28-year-old guy.
Yeah.
Looks like, based on his social media, that he's got a wife and a very young infant. And so he, he's got a young family. And he'll be coming to town for the summer this year to manage the TinCaps. But yeah, it was fun to catch up with him. A little different resume than maybe one we're used to with a lot of TinCaps coaches, guys that have had some affiliation with professional baseball. And for him, he basically jumped right in and ended up being a manager at the Arizona Complex League fairly early on. Had 2 years there before he then got the promotion to Low A or Single A. Lake Elsinore had success last year with the Storm. They made it to the championship series, and that earned him the opportunity to then come to Fort Wayne for High A baseball this year. So we'll get a chance to get to meet him
Yeah, he may not have been a pro player, but he is working his way up through the leagues, going from the complex league to low A to high A. So he's working his way up through the system, too.
Pacers got a big win last night, and they've been one of the hottest clubs in the entire organization or association, as they call it. Pacers 111-100 over the Detroit Pistons. Miles Turner with a big night, and even though it sometimes pains me to say it or admit it, Miles Turner finished 8 of 11 from behind the three-point line last night.
Yeah, if you want to criticize him at all, you can say he still did only grab 3 rebounds, but definitely productive on the scoring side of the ball.
Yeah, the Pacers collectively as a team were out-rebounded by Detroit 55-40. So it is still an area that the Pacers could stand to have some improvement. And most of that is because Miles Turner takes up the position where you would probably put a high-level skilled rebounder.
Yep.
And so, the thing is you take the good with the bad, and the good is that he's able to stretch a defense. He's able to step behind the three-point line and hit shots, and he has games like this. But the bad is on a consistent basis, he gets 3 or 4 rebounds a game.
Yeah, and you do need those rebounds. I mean, rebounds are huge.
Finished with 28 points. Pascal Siakam finished with 26. He had 10 for 20 from the field, 7 rebounds, but had 7 assists. Siakam apparently found Turner a few times. You had Tyrese Halliburton with 17 and 8.
Yeah.
And Andrew Nebhard, he ended up with 12 points and 6 assists, 4 rebounds. The nice thing was that Aaron Nesmith got on the court, and he got 9 points in just 9 minutes of play. He was 3 for 4 from the field, 2 for 3 behind the arc. But only 9 minutes, just kind of dipping his toes in the water last night.
Yeah, slowly easing his way in. This was Thomas Bryant's probably worst game as an Indiana Pacer so far. He was 0 for 4 from the field for no points, but he still did contribute at 6 rebounds and a block, so you can't be mad at that.
Yeah, he out-rebounded Miles.
That's a hard
Miles
thing to
played 37 minutes. Bryant played 11. Bryant gets 6 rebounds. Miles Turner gets 3.
Yeah. I mean, the three-pointers are great, but I would love to see 1 or 2 more.
Nemhard had 4 rebounds.
So did Tyrese,
Halliburton had 4 rebounds.
Toppin and Walker also both had 5. T.J. McConnell out-rebounded Miles Turner.
Man, that's
by
embarrassing. Miles Turner, that has to be personally embarrassing.
TJ, man.
He could say, hey, I hit more threes than those guards did, but those guards got more rebounds.
That we needed.
But Cade Cunningham, he had 20
Inefficient
for Detroit.
night, yeah,
but he was only 7 of 21 and 1 for 7 behind the three-point line. Did have 9 assists, 25 for Hardaway. What was my? Because I jumped in and I went player prop.
Yeah,
last
you did.
night.
I actually did one too, but I cashed out before it did not hit, so I'm happy to.
I took the safe route, man.
You did. You took a lot of easy ones.
I took a lot of easy ones, and I lowered my odds, so I only won like 2-1 on my money. But
cupcake parlay. Cade Cunningham to score 20 plus. He scored 20.
He scored 20. Yeah.
You know what's funny is I had him to score 21 in my parlay, and I cashed out before I made profit.
Really?
I cashed out. I made profit. It wasn't a lot of profit, but I cashed out before it didn't hit, so I'm happy about that.
That'd have been a bad beat.
Siakam 15 plus. He obviously finished with 26. Siakam to record 4 plus rebounds. He's not Miles Turner, so you're good there.
Yeah,
he had 7.
He had 7.
And Tyrese had 8 assists. You needed him to have at least 6, so you were good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Really, really good parlay there put together by me.
I like it. Here, let's.
Yeah.
There you go. Little money in the pocket.
Yeah, my $2 became $3.78 or something like that.
Hey, hard to beat making money watching sports.
I played it for fun, you know.
Yeah.
Just did it for fun.
Why not?
But anyway, Pacers with the big win, so they still retain their 6th spot in the East, which is important because the top 6 don't have to play the play-in rounds.
Yep.
Also, Mastodon women with a big game coming up tomorrow out at the Gate Center.
Undefeated record in Horizon League on the line once again.
Biggest target on their back that you have anyone wearing right now in the Horizon League because they are perfect 8-0 in league play. And just an amazing job Maria Marchesano has done with this group. They're 7-0 at home, and that means between the men's team and the women's team, the Mastodons are combined 16-0 at home. Was it Maria that said she didn't want to suffer the announcer's jinx? Because I keep saying that stat.
I'm not sure.
I think she brought it up to me on the coach's show. She said, yeah, hopefully we don't suffer from the announcer's jinx this weekend. She kind of threw that at me. Not going to stop talking about it, Coach. I'm sorry.
The worst place that always comes to play is always the free throws. You know, you mentioned, and Jalen Jackson has shot 90% at the free throw line.
Yeah,
He's been
I know.
a knockdown shooter, and then
That's hit me a few times.
It has this season, especially.
This season, and it's hit me last season. It's like, you know, I've got the stat in front of me because Wednesday night it was Rasheed Bello.
Yeah, it was.
He goes to the line, and it's like, okay, I mentioned that he's the number one free throw shooter in the Horizon League, and he steps up to the line and clanks it. It's like, don't do that to me.
You're making me look bad.
It makes everybody think that we actually have something to do with this shot. Like they're listening to us and they're missing because we said something. Trust me, they don't know what we're saying. I have no impact on their free throw shots.
It's the cosmic energy you're putting out there into the universe.
Well, and the thing is, I've probably said the same thing when they've made 20 free throws, but it's the one they miss when all of a sudden I think I never should have said something. The undefeated records, the combined records in the men and women's basketball team I've been talking about since we got back from Christmas break. And so the men have won 3 in a row at home. The women have won a couple.
Yeah.
So if they lose tomorrow, it's not because I'm talking about the streak, because they've made it through about 5 games with victories while this streak has been alive. But the women's basketball team's going to host Northern Kentucky tomorrow, 2 p.m. at the Gates Center. You know what? We've got to get people involved in this January 30th men's game.
Yeah, the Support the Fort game, as you're calling it.
Support the Fort. Show people around the country how much Fort Wayne loves basketball and just sports in general, because it's going to be a national television audience, because ESPNU is going to be coming to town. They bring their announcers, their cameras, they bring the whole setup. It's going to be a national TV broadcast of Purdue Fort Wayne versus Cleveland State. But not only is it fun just to be in the atmosphere of a national television broadcast, but this game's important in the Horizon League standings. You know, it's a big game for both teams, but for the Mastodons playing on their home floor, because right now the Dons are a half game behind Cleveland State in the Horizon League standings. Cleveland State has the top spot. They are 7-1. The Mastodons are a half game back, all alone in second place in the league out of 11 teams with a 7-2 record, and the Dons are 9-0 at home. And so with ESPNU coming to town, it is what we call Support the Fort night, and show your appreciation for ESPN coming, for our local college Division I basketball team. And if you've never been to a game, this would be the one to go to. And the tip time's been moved to 9 p.m. to accommodate the ESPN schedule. So Mastodons versus Cleveland State, January 30th, Thursday night, 9 o'clock at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. Please support the Fort. By the way, did you see this, what happened with Mackenzie Mbako?
No, I didn't. What happened?
Now, I'm still trying to, because again, with AI, you never really know if what you're looking at is real or is it artificial intelligence. But this appeared to be fairly real. But someone tweeted a screenshot of the IU Barstool account, and they had posted a video from Assembly Hall when the fans were all screaming, "Fire Woodson," right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you heard those screams coming from the crowd. Barstool, IU Barstool, at IU Barstool, posted it, and it was liked by Mac.Mbako and others. And someone asked, did Mackenzie Mbako just like a tweet promoting their coach being fired?
It's worth asking. I mean, it is possible. There's kind of an update to this. About 2 hours ago, he posted on his Instagram story a picture of him being coached by Mike Woodson with no context other than that. Just a dramatic shot of Mike Woodson pointing at a whiteboard with Mbako looking. So maybe that's kind of saying, hey, I'm still with Woodson in some way, or I don't know. Maybe he's saying that tweet being liked was not a real thing. I'm right here with Woodson, but who knows? It's interesting to follow along with.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of, one of those things where how deep is the mess in Bloomington?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen players go to social media. We saw Luke Goody fire back at some criticism online on Twitter, and it's getting kind of ugly.
Well, and of course, Goody just came right out in the press conference and made his statements too. And, I understand you want to stand up for the team and stand up for your teammates, but you know what? You almost need a public relations person to talk to before you decide that you're going to be the guy that makes the team statement because, hey, Luke, you're from Fort Wayne. You're a smart kid. I know you're a dedicated basketball player, but you picked the wrong fight. Don't go against your fans. Don't tell them to go ahead and cheer for somebody else. Don't go after a former Indiana coach turned radio talk show host. Just do your job. And that's another thing where I think you can be more critical as a fan, even as a broadcaster of college athletes now, because they are being paid. You expect a certain performance. Mm-hmm. They're being paid literally to do a job. I mean, you could say, oh, well, it's got to be tied into community service or it's tied into some kind of sponsorship message. But the reality is they're getting money, and you can raise your level of expectations when someone's collecting a check for what they're doing. And I think that's what the fans were kind of vocal about. And I just think that what Luke said was probably out of place. All right, we got to take a break because when we come back, we've got to talk a little bit about this Baltimore-Buffalo game. Lamar versus Josh. Which quarterback needs to win this game more? We'll talk about that, plus we'll make NFL picks, and we've got a replay of Lukas Ray coming up. It's all part of a Friday edition of the Sports Rush on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. Welcome back to the Sports Rush, your daily local sports fix 4 to 6. I am Brett Rump along with Adam Lundy. Got high school basketball tonight. We're going to be out at New Haven High School for the Bulldogs versus the Lions. It's an East Allen County Schools rivalry with Leo New Haven. Our featured boys high school basketball matchup tonight of the Parkview Sports Medicine High School Basketball Game of the Week. Got play-by-play coverage starting at approximately 7:30 right here at 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. Then it's the Parkview Sports Medicine High School Basketball Postgame Show tonight from the New Haven Pizza Hut. Join Adam Lundy, Eric Dudukevich, and me. We'll be there until 10:30. Right after the game ends, we'll give you scores, highlights, analysis, coaches' interviews, and maybe even a national championship pick. I don't know.
Ooh. You're going to make me think about that now.
Yeah, I don't know what we'll throw at you tonight. We always end up off topic once or twice during the course of the high school basketball show.
Yeah, I mean, especially if there's big games going on. I mean, last time we had a very big college football playoff game while we were doing the show, so we were following along with that.
That was the one in December.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because
it's been a while.
Last week, we thought we would have a big college football game during the show, but it turned out we all got to watch the college football game because our show had to get canceled because of inclement weather last Friday. Not a problem today.
No, the sun has been out. It's been melting everything off the roads.
We are getting punked.
I know. It's a little fake out.
Yeah, they give us this taste of warm weather, so when the cold comes in, it feels that much colder.
Mother Nature pump faking us here.
I feel like you can go outside in a golf shirt today.
Oh, yeah. A sweater.
Because it's been so cold. We've been in the teens so often that now we get a day where it's about 40 degrees, and it's like, I can throw a golf shirt on. So that means when it goes down to below zero, it will feel bitter cold. And it's coming.
It is.
260-447-8500, the Parkview Sports Medicine text line, 260-447-8500. All right, so the NFL playoffs this weekend. And I guess one of the questions I've got for you, Adam, I heard this talked about earlier, and I've got kind of mixed thoughts on it. Who needs to win the game more this weekend as far as to validate their spot in the hierarchy of NFL quarterbacks? Is it Lamar Jackson or is it Josh Allen? Because you can look at two guys that are probably considered top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, and yet what have they won?
No Super Bowls between either of them.
No, and so, somebody's got to break through. And now one of them is going to survive this weekend because they play each other. But who's the one that has more at stake? Is it Lamar Jackson? Is it Josh Allen? I will tell you this. I think there's less pressure on Lamar Jackson, but I think maybe he has to prove himself as the all-around quarterback that can get it done in the clutch. I think Josh Allen's a unique talent, and I think his passing ability is respected. He runs really well when he does run, but I think there's still this perception out there by many of the NFL fans that Lamar Jackson is just nothing more than a freak athlete that plays quarterback, and because of that, he's able to scramble for big plays. But during the playoffs, he just doesn't make the plays. He's not a great cold weather quarterback. We know Josh Allen can play in the cold and the snow because he's in Buffalo. So I feel, but here's the thing with the roster, the fact that you've got Derrick Henry to run the football for Baltimore. That's huge for Lamar Jackson because cold weather, if you happen to get some of that lake effect snow, I don't know if there's going to be snow in Buffalo this weekend, but if you happen to get any, a lot of times these games are decided much more on the ground than they are in the air. And, Baltimore makes sure to try to have a strong running game to support Lamar Jackson, where at Buffalo, they don't worry about weapons for Josh Allen. What's on Josh Allen's shoulders is for Josh Allen to make whoever they throw out there better. That's the pressure on him. For Lamar Jackson, they try to get good receivers, quality running back. They've got a good tight end. They've made trades to bring in receivers and make sure they get a good receiving core. And then for Josh Allen, receivers come and go. There's no real fixed guy at tight end. They've changed running backs multiple times. And so, Josh Allen's responsibility is to make everyone around him better, where Lamar Jackson's responsibility is to have everybody around him make him better. And so I keep going back and forth. It's like, okay, I can analyze kind of what I think about each quarterback and their situation, but then when it says which one needs to win this game more to validate their position in the hierarchy of NFL quarterbacks, I don't know.
I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson. Just going off of the top of my head of my perception of them, I feel like we've seen worse playoff performances from Lamar Jackson, whereas it's with Josh Allen, it just feels like they run into a better team sometimes, whereas opposed with Lamar, it feels like sometimes you're questioning his performance individually. There was last year where they just kind of refused to run the ball. It was really weird against the Chiefs.
Yeah, that was weird.
So I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson, and then especially looking at this season now that they've added Derrick Henry, I think that those added weapons kind of put even more pressure on you to get past this round.
But is it really Lamar that has to win or lose this game if you bring in the weapons and especially bring in a running back like Derrick Henry? You're basically saying our guy that we're going to trust to get us over the hump in the playoffs is no longer Lamar Jackson. Our guy is Derrick Henry.
I guess you could say that. You could also just say it takes some of the pressure off Lamar Jackson, so now he has no excuse to perform, anything less than exemplary.
Give us your thoughts, 260-447-8500, the Parkview Sports Medicine text line. Okay, we ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's make some picks. It's the NFL playoff schedule this weekend. What is this? The divisional playoffs. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. It starts on Saturday. The Houston Texans.
They always get the first game.
With the first game on Saturday. They're going on the road this time to Kansas City to take on a Chiefs squad that sat out the last game of the regular season, then had a bye. It's been 3 weeks since we've seen Mahomes, Kelsey, and company. Does that hurt KC, or is it a veteran enough group that they just come out like riding a bicycle and take off and destroy the Houston Texans? I do think Kansas City's going to win, but I do question whether or not Houston can stay within the 8 points. I don't think this is a blowout because I do think there'll be a little bit of rust in Kansas City, but I do think they're good enough at home to win the game. I'm going to take Houston with the points, but I'm going to take Kansas City to advance. So I'm mixed, but if we're going by spreads, I guess my pick is Houston because they're giving 8 points.
I'm going to take the Chiefs to cover.
Washington is at Detroit. Oh, did you hear the story in Detroit about the playoffs this weekend? That the city of Detroit is shutting down and fining and perhaps even charging with criminal charges the owners of some of the parking lots in downtown Detroit.
Wow.
Apparently, there's a company that owns like 3, and they're not huge lots. They're smaller lots, but they're very convenient to Ford Field.
Sure.
And they've been advertising exclusive parking for $1,000 a parking spot. And I'm sure it's probably something to do with price gouging, whatever it is that they're going to charge them with. But I did hear that the police have attacked them and shut them down. And until things change, I don't think they'll be parking at those 3 spots. So if you are going to the game from the Fort Wayne area, just be prepared. There may be 3 parking lots that maybe hold a total of a couple of hundred cars that might be shut down on Sunday. But anyway, now the game.
Biggest spread of the game this weekend.
I know, it's 9.5 points, and it just seems like a ton of points.
Yeah.
I like Detroit to win. I don't know if I want to give 9.5 points away. I can't do it. I can't give 9.5 points. It's the playoffs.
Yeah.
You don't see too many 9.5 point spreads during the season.
Right. I know it's, a rookie with the Commanders, and they just got by the Buccaneers, but 9.5 is a lot.
And so I'm going to go with the Commanders with the points, and once again, Lions to win the game.
Yeah, I'm going to take Commanders to cover that spread.
On Sunday, you've got the Los Angeles Rams making the trip across the country to Philadelphia. Philadelphia at 6.5. I like them by at least a touchdown, so I'm going to take Philadelphia minus 6.5.
Same here. The Rams looked pretty good in their first game, but I think they run into a wall here.
Yeah, short rest. I just long cross-country
going out east,
trip.
Yeah.
I just think the cards are stacked against the Rams in this one. Also, you've got Baltimore-Buffalo. This is the big one, and it's the finale of the weekend 4-game set, and it's Baltimore on the road. That's a 1.5 point favorite.
That's pretty crazy. Hey, I did check the weather just so you can factor this in. On Saturday, tomorrow, they're getting 37 going down, so it's going to be rain and snow mixed tomorrow. And then Sunday, 20% chance of flurries all day.
What's the high temperature, though?
Only 18.
Okay, that gives me Buffalo, baby.
I'm taking Buffalo, too.
Baltimore, they're going to freeze in that cold. So I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills, and I'll give 1.5 points. That's almost a pick'em game at 1.5. So there you go. There's our picks. Where do we get it right? Where do we get it wrong? Let us know at 260-447-8500. It's a Friday edition, wrapping up your work week, getting you into your sports weekend. The Sports Rush on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. Speaking of Fort Wayne, we learned that the TinCaps will have a new manager for the 2025 season. Mike Daly returns to his gig back in San Diego, and the new manager is 28-year-old Lukas Ray, and he joins us right now on the Sports Rush guest line. And Lukas, congratulations on a step up from Lake Elsinore to Fort Wayne, and welcome to the TinCaps.
Yeah, thank you, and appreciate you having me on, and obviously appreciate what all y'all do for the sports community of Fort Wayne. I'm excited to learn and get in there.
Now, you are a South Carolina guy, played college baseball in South Carolina. You're working for a San Diego organization. What's the chance you've been to Fort Wayne at any moment in your life, even if you just drove through?
The only connection I have as close to Fort Wayne as I can get is I filled in for Jonathan Matthews during the 2023 season, but we were on the road in Lake County. So that's about as close to Fort Wayne as I've gotten, but everything I've heard is how great the fans, how great the city, how great the ballpark is. I'm over the moon excited to get an opportunity to be there.
Yeah, the awards that the organization has won over the years, and the management of TinCaps President Mike Nutter, you'll be very happy having a home in Fort Wayne for a few months. I want to talk about your age. I think you've become the youngest manager that we've had as part of this organization in its history at 28 years old. And, two things about it. You're young, and you don't have a professional background that's on your resume. So what is it about you, your style, that allows you to kind of get not only the opportunity, but earn the respect of the young professional baseball players you'll be managing this summer?
Man, I don't know if it's in particular. I think it might be the San Diego Padres organization blessing me with a lot of good coaches that have been on the staff that I've managed, and a lot of really, really good players as you've seen come through Fort Wayne. The scouting department just continues to put together some really talented prospects in the system. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's 28 on paper, but when we all get in there in the clubhouse, it doesn't matter if you played in the big leagues for 20 years. We have a lot of respect for those people and people who haven't stepped foot on the professional field as an athlete. Everybody's there for a reason, and as long as you can bring value to somebody's career and you can help them achieve the goals that they want to achieve, then I think there's value for anybody to be in the clubhouse.
Well, you've been a manager now in the organization 3 years at the Arizona Complex League, and last year having success at Lake Elsinore. What is it that's kind of set you apart to lead these teams to successful seasons? Because you had a nice little run in Lake Elsinore last year, getting all the way to the championship series. Yeah,
it was a wonderful clubhouse filled with, once again, like talent up and down, and it was a bunch of really hard-working, hard-nosed, competitive guys. And I think one of the things that really separated us and gave us an edge among the rest of the California League was just our staff was really close-knit together, and we were all supporting each other, and that kind of turned into models for the players. And the players are sitting here, whether they're from the Dominican Republic or whether they're from, the state of California. We're out here supporting each other, and at the end of the day, we all have the same goal of getting to the big leagues and developing, and let's win some games while we're at it together.
What type of style do you have as a manager? Are you a process guy, results guy, an energy guy? How do you describe your managerial style?
I would say probably the best way to describe it is, or what I aspire to be, because obviously we all fall short of what we want to do in our careers and who we want to be on a daily basis. But I really aspire to be a consistent figure in the clubhouse. Whatever you did yesterday, whether you went 4 for 4 with a walk-off homer or you went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts and all 4 times you had runners in scoring position, today's a new day. It doesn't matter what you did yesterday. It's all about what can I do today to improve myself, first off, and then what can I do today to prepare myself to play at 7:05. And, I try to be as consistent as possible, and then on the same note, try to be as positive as possible. Baseball is as you know, is probably one of the hardest sports on this planet. And at the end of the day, there's ups and downs, and you got to celebrate the successes and the shortcomings. You learn from them, and you move on, and you stay positive.
Have you ever managed with a chip on your shoulder? We talked about your background maybe not being as traditional as a lot of the guys that play. Then they decide they want to get into coaching. And sometimes that step is taken when guys are still at a low A level. It doesn't mean they've played at the major leagues. But do you ever feel like you've got a little extra to prove because of that?
That's a good question. I wouldn't necessarily say I've like carried myself that way or gone about that when I look in the mirror. I would just say like I'm really grateful to be a San Diego Padre and the support that they offer and I feel, the lack of playing experience and the younger age, that when I approach things with an open mind and ready to learn from the guys that have a lot more experience and a lot more talent than I do. And the players are teachers as well. They teach you, how this change of what's common and what's the style of how they want to be coached and how they want to play. And, as long as you listen to the players and you listen to the people around you, there's a reason that everybody is there, because we are the San Diego Padres and trying to get a World Series in San Diego.
When you played in South Carolina, I know the Padres have had some success pulling some guys out of the Carolinas over the last few years. The thoughts of like Mackenzie Gore come to mind. Did you ever have any experience in your playing days of either going against or being on a team with anybody who ended up in the Padres organization?
Man, I'm sure there are quite a bit of people. I want to say I think I played high school baseball against G.K. Young.
Oh, okay.
He played on that Coastal Carolina University National Championship team in 2016, and I think he had a short stint with the Fort Wayne TinCaps and the Padres organization.
Yep.
That's the first one that comes to mind. Mackenzie Gore was a couple years after me in high school, but we're relatively from the same area of high schools. He's just over the state line in North Carolina, and the name, and obviously it's a pitcher that could probably get me out every at bat because I couldn't hit and I swung and missed a lot, which is why I got on the coaching side very quickly. But yeah, I mean, the Padres do have a track record of coming into the Carolinas and the area scouts and the cross checkers, and then Chris Kemp, the director, who is, I am incredibly grateful that I manage inside a system that he put players in, because, like I said at the beginning, I get gifted with a lot of talent in the clubhouse, and it makes our job a lot easier.
You're a former catcher, I understand, and there's always been a long-held belief in baseball the catchers make the best managers. In a day and age of analytics and so much technology, is it still true? And if so, what makes catchers special as managers?
Man, that's a really good question. I would say probably, personally, in my opinion, I think the best, whether it's a manager, hitting coach, pitching coach, strength coach, whoever, the best in their field in their specific field are the ones who can blend everything together. They can blend all this access of information, because there is a lot of useful information, and then there's also a lot of information that becomes noise and distraction. And it's the people that can blend that with a high level of feel, we call it. But at the end of the day, it's relationship building. It's a people business, and it's all about how you can support and lift each other up and get somebody to be the best version of themselves every day. And I think that's what a catcher, does on a field. That's what they do for a pitching staff, is their job is to, lift up every pitcher and make sure that they're there to serve the pitcher and, make his pitches look the best, find the counts where his pitches can get out. And it's the typical of the catcher's the only one facing everybody else. He's the only one wearing gear. And so you have to know everything going on the field, and you have to be willing to take the heat and take blows and sacrifice your body for the team.
Well, we look forward to having you here this summer. Just a quick update. The weather on Monday, I think our low is like 4 below zero and the highest single digits, but we promise it will be a little warmer. Maybe not much, but a little warmer by the time the end of March and early April rolls around. So congrats again. Look forward to meeting you when you get here this spring.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Appreciate it. That is Lukas Ray. He is the new TinCaps Manager, announced today by the Padres and the TinCaps, 28-year-old out of South Carolina. Last year's manager at Lake Elsinore as the Storm made it to the championship series. We got to take a quick break, and we will come back. It's the Sports Rush on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. We're back final time here on the Sports Rush, your daily local sports fix, 4 to 6. I'm off to New Haven tonight because the Bulldogs are hosting the Lions. And it's a matchup that's ingrained into the NE8, an EACS matchup, rivalry game, East Allen County Schools. And, it's interesting when you look at the records, they're both close to 500, but they've gotten their different ways. For New Haven, they want to get the scoring up. They probably want to play this game close to 65, 70 points. For Leo, they're probably going to be content with a score that stays right around 50, max out at about 55. That's where Leo has been most successful. New Haven's been successful in some of the higher scoring games. So I think you'll see a contrast of pace, and I think you'll also see a team that has been very successful against teams that they are supposed to beat, but they have not had success against teams that have come in with higher rankings, and that's New Haven. Teams that have been state ranked, which they've played a brutal schedule. I think they've played like 5 state ranked teams, but they haven't beaten any of them. And just most recently, they had a shot. They gave Lures a battle all the way to the finish and fell by 1 point to the Bishop Lures Knights earlier this week. Meanwhile, you've got Leo under first-year coach Derek Heinen. After Kerry Cogdell stepped aside, he's been there so long, and Derek Heinen kind of building the program, and he's got his team off to a nice start. They're building an identity based on defense. But we'll have a good one tonight. 7:30 out at New Haven. Leo at New Haven. And then after the game, I want you to jump over across the street and join us at the New Haven Pizza Hut. We'll be there for the Parkview Sports Medicine post-game show. Scores, highlights, coaches' interviews, maybe a surprise score or two. Who knows what we've got in store for you tonight. But when you get out of the game, make sure you flip the radio to 1380 The Fan and check out the Parkview Sports Medicine high school basketball post-game show up until about 10:30. And then now, are we flipping it right over to Bob Lovell tonight?
I do believe so. I will double check and let you know.
Because my schedule has Indiana at Ohio State tonight, and that's not right.
Oh, I believe that might be on our sister station, but I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, that's what it does say. Okay. Yeah, it says it's on the other station. So we'll be flipping over to Bob Lovell.
Yep, Indiana Sports Talk.
Indiana Sports Talk, perfect. And that's great because you get all the local coverage, and then we turn it over and give you what's happened around the state with some of the prominent programs, statewide scores with Bob Lovell and Indiana Sports Talk then up until midnight. Big thanks to the guests that appeared on the Sports Rush today. Always great to talk to Rob Blackman, Purdue radio voice, of course, the Boilermakers against Oregon coming up tomorrow. And how about a chance to meet the new TinCaps manager? Young feller.
Very cool. Right around my age. My goodness.
Yeah. There's a shot for you. And you know what I like is you've got that TinCaps sweatshirt on today. So
I'm very appropriate.
You were appropriately dressed. But Lukas Ray, who joined us not once but twice today, also big thanks to you for tuning in and joining the Sports Rush on this Friday. Hope you have a chance over the weekend to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can subscribe, you can like, you can follow, you can rate, you can review. We hope to hear kind words from you wherever you listen to your podcast. Look for the Sports Rush with Brett Rump. Out of here. Got to take off for New Haven. So have a great sports weekend. Talking Sports comes your way tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. With Jim Shevlin and DC Hendricks, his producer co-host. That's 9 a.m. tomorrow for Talking Sports. Enjoy the weekend. It is the Sports Rush on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.